Hi, my name's Holly and I'm a mixed media artist and printmaker from Hertfordshire in the UK. Today I thought I'd share one of my sketchbooks with you, or my art journal, depending on what you want to call it, because people often ask me, what do I do with my my gel prints when I've made them, or any of the things that I create. So if you enjoy this video, please like, please subscribe. I'd love to hear from you, so you know, if you want to comment, then that would be fab. So let's get started. So often I will choose specific parts of gel prints and use them in my journal. Sometimes they're just offcuts, and sometimes I'm just experimenting to see how something might work. I sometimes print on tissue paper and then I'll layer that over. These are just drawings with pen, and these are created with stamps that I made from kids foam, which I'll show you at some point. Again, more stamps that I created. Some of it is just really random, or just as I feel like I want to collage it. It will just spill out onto the pages, really. Sometimes I use like white gel pens like these to like draw over the top of things and create different patterns. A lot of it is just experimentation for things that I might then take on to something else. And then some of it's about combining colours as well. I quite like torn edges, so there's a lot of torn edges in here. This was a project that I did. Basically, I followed some courses online, and you created these ladies and their dresses, which I quite enjoyed actually. And again, this was another project from something I did online, and I used all like different musical notes and stuff in the and different strips of different things to collage. This here is just the it's off the inside of envelopes. It's quite good as a collage tool. I often use it actually. And then I stitched into it, and this is done through lino printing. The butterflies are just stamps that I bought. Again, this is another course that I did online, and it was all about collaging bits and pieces together to make these tags. And these are hand-drawn bits on top, and little captions, words, whatever inspires me. And that one's like a set of 3 of them. I'll have to show you how I create these at some point and what the process is. Sometimes like things that I do don't quite work out how I think they will, but it's worth having an experiment. Otherwise you don't know. Positives and negatives. Again, more hand-drawn leaves on collage backgrounds. Bird shapes. More tags, just experimenting with using different things to create the texture. And I don't know if you can see this, but there is some text here, and I think I got it. We went on holiday somewhere. I think it might have been Egypt or somewhere, and all the writing, we bought some things and they wrapped it up in newspaper, and all the writing's like fascinating because it's not your standard letters, your standard alphabet, but it looks really beautiful, like collaged into things. Again, these were more collage squares, but I actually stitched into them, and I quite liked, I put some sequins on as well. I quite liked the way that the threads looked coming out the sides as well. And again, more, this is like a ghost print, and then on top of it, I've then drawn different shapes and things. This was to do with fish and chips, I think. I think I was having fish and chips on a holiday, and that's where I got this from. But this is seaweed that I used to create these here. This is tissue paper and text from a magazine. Sometimes it's where I am that will inspire what I'm collaging together. So these ones are all kind of very sea based because I was on holiday at the time. Again, more mini squares. I quite like working like this. If you do a big collage sheet and then you cut it up into smaller pieces, quite enjoy doing that. And some more little tags. As well as gel printing, I do a lot of lino printing, and sometimes I'm trying to figure out how I can use my lino prints on top of a background. So I'll experiment with things. More experimenting with text. This is actually a book page. I've got an old book that I always feel guilty, but I've got an old book that I bought really cheaply, and I tear the pages up and use them in my collage, and I quite like that effect. And none of these are like polished or perfect or look necessarily that good, but they're just experiments. And then if I decide to take them on further to a finished piece, then I will obviously make them slightly more polished. This little rabbit shape I actually made from this like foam board, which you can like, it's almost like polystyrene. You can carve your shapes out of it. So that's another way you can create shapes. Again, more torn strips I quite like. I love the torn edges. It's really, yeah, just like that. And more lino prints. Sometimes when I do these sketchbooks, I'll use both sides of the page, and sometimes I'll just use one. And in this sketchbook, I have just mostly used just one page. These are just some little lino cuts that I did with lots of sort of botanical themed shapes and some more abstract shapes. So I just was experimenting with how to use them on a background. And then I thought I'd be a bit more geometric, so I was just trying to like make the lines more straight. Again, I think this is done with tissue paper, and I've just drawn on top of all the tissue paper. Not all of it's gel prints. Gift wraps, I think this must have been coming up for Christmas. So I've used some like tartan gift wrap and then collage that in with other colours. And some of it's about working out what colours might work together and how they might work together. And even just the colour combinations might then take me on to something else. This one's one of my favourites, actually. I love this one. This was definitely done at Christmas time. If you look at my Instagram, I posted it on there. But this is a lino cut, and then I've collaged that onto this background, and I've drawn all these other shapes around it, and you can see snow. So yeah, that's one of my favourites. And again, another one, I've done this little fawn, and that's like it's out of lino as well. And then I've used a bit of gift wrap in the background, and these are like collage papers as well, and it kind of gives that, because it's got glitter on the gift wrap, it gives this sort of Christmassy feel to it, wintry, snow-like feel. More gift wrap that I used in this one with glitter trees. And another one with my little badger made from lino. Just more experimentation with shapes in the background and how I might use them. And then these are just little swatches, just made from little bits of paper. Sometimes, like, I don't know about you, but I really find it hard to throw any of my collage stuff away. So every so often I just need to use lots of little bits up, and I really like working quickly. I quite like these colour combinations. It's all really like random, but I quite enjoy like putting these little pieces together. There's something very satisfying about it. This was actually when I went to the Harry Potter experience near London. And it just kind of inspired me, all the little pots, little glass. I think they were in Snape's classroom. And yeah, I was fascinated by all the different shapes of little glasses that had all the different potions in. So I used my gel prints in the background on some of these. Experimenting with cutting prints up and then piecing them back together. This is actually one of my prints, I think, that I cut up and then I cut up, sorry, a copy of it, and then I placed it all together to see what it would look like. These bird shapes were made with foam stamps. Again, sometimes you use them on the gel plate, sometimes I use them separately. Again, more experimenting with layering my gel print, my lino cuts on top of different backgrounds and gel prints. Yeah, some more tags. This was done with seaweed, I remember that. More seaweed. I also made all these tiny little fish out of lino, so they're just all very small little lino cuts, and then I've collaged them all onto here. Again, more tiny little studies with these little lino creatures, but then with all these bits here, like just random bits and pieces of foliage. I think this is a bird stamp that I used. Just again, experimenting with different strips of collaged gel print and the colours and how they kind of gel together. This is a ghost print with, I think it was like like the little daisy things. Quite like that. So yeah, and then this is a stamp that I then stamped over the top. Just more experimenting. It must have been around Valentine's Day with different stamps and things. I think when you work in a sketchbook or a journal like this, it just helps you to be a bit unafraid of making mistakes or what things might turn out like. You can just experiment freely and not worry about making it into any kind of a finished piece. And that is one of my sketchbooks from a couple of years ago. So I hope this has inspired you to go away and start collaging with some of your gel prints. Don't be too precious. That's probably my biggest bit of advice. Just play about and see what comes out of it. Try lots of different things, because until you try things, you'll never not know what works. And just be just be open to trying lots of different things. Don't be too precious about any of your prints if you want to tear them up, because you can always make more. I hope you've enjoyed this today and it inspires you to go away and do some printing and some collaging. And yeah, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to hear from you, so please comment too. Thanks, bye.